I've hit the button. We're off.
Oh, we're off.
We're off. The last pre-pod that we did was not very good.
That's because Chris tried to script it
I just
for
put
us.
some things out.
Chris-
I realised
Chris
that's why I
wanted-
didn't do it
And realised it was
nonsense.
shit.
Chris wanted to have some organised spontaneity.
Organised fun.
What's that?
Everyone goes to Chris's
You
house
come
for
to
a
my
party.
house, that's what you get.
Organised fun.
I don't organise anything.
Especially not fun.
Yeah. Fun is near the bottom of the list of things that I do organise. And I don't organise very many things.
So there's none of that today. There's just this nonsense. Welcome to The Good Roundup. Good is a brand consultancy in the UK, and from time to time we get together and we talk about the world of brand and, well, basically brand really, because that's what we do at Good. We do brand. I am joined as ever by Ms. Julie Murdoch
Hello.
and Mr. Chris Lumsden.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, it's a sign of things to come in the next 30 minutes.
It's because I cut off his joke chat. Yeah,
Not at all.
welcome to the
He had his
longest
little-
30 minutes of your life. He's doing emails. I can't believe it.
No, I'm not. I'm actually looking at my notes.
Oh, very good.
Oh.
I've got
See,
some notes.
that's
Doing a
good.
lot of scrolling. Have you got a lot of notes?
I've put it up big so I can see it. Enough. So anyway, never mind the brand bollocks.
But that is the topic of today's podcast. So what we've done is we have gone away and we've had a little think about the thing that annoys us about the world of brand.
Well, it's because we sit around and sneer at stuff an awful lot, and we thought we'd better put them together.
Well, I mean,
What do
come
we
on.
do?
Yeah, but the point is it's with, we don't, okay, yeah.
We do. We do. We
But
sneer
with
and
ki-
laugh,
But
and it can, and it's quite bitchy.
What is going on here?
Where are you?
Bitchy.
It's not bitchy.
We're not on video, no one can
No,
see
no
what
one
you're
can see
doing.
the shock and horror that's expressions on your face. Julie and I.
Okay, no, you're quite right. It's never bitchy.
No, we're not. Julie and I are the milk of human kindness, and we talk to be progressive and positive about the feelings that we see within our industry.
That is
Yeah.
what we do.
It's the
You are
same
so
things
right,
that
Stuart.
keep cropping up. So we're making a list of them, and we're going through them in podcasts.
We all collated a list, didn't we? And we've picked one of our.
Mine's a long list.
Shocker.
I
I'm
know,
sure
I
our
know.
3 listeners will be very shocked to hear that.
A long list of things. That is the one thing I'm organised about.
It's a- to be-
Writing lists of things that
That's
annoy me.
It's a wonder you're even still in this industry, to be fair.
I know.
It is a wonder.
Still
Well, there's been moments.
Grasping that belief that he can make it better.
So the format of today is we're going to pick our, not necessarily our top, but the most front of mind annoying thing about the world of brand, the brand bollocks. And we're just going to have a little chat about it and see what we think. So I think what we'll do is we'll go to the top of the table. We'll go
No,
to the...
don't know me first.
No, you've got a long list with big notes. We're
I
not
know.
going to waste
I'm still
that.
trying to choose which one I'm going to go with.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Kicking off then with...
What's on your list?
On my list of brand bollocks, millennials, which is something that's much talked
millennials.
about.
It's a good one.
I know. It's not that, I don't have a fundamental dislike for millennials
I
per
do.
se. Maybe some of them, but not all. So this
Who are they
one-
again? Who are they?
They are, it's just an age demographic. So anyone born between 1981 and 1996 is classed as a millennial. Not any of us.
No.
But so this one is about segmentation, and you hear this. I think this is one that we hear from both, and I think both client side and agency side.
Oh,
where-
our industry. When we
Are
say
as
the
guilty
industry,
as-
we mean the agency.
we mean us
industry.
as well.
We're worse.
Yeah, we probably are, to be fair. You hear people talking about targeting millennials, inverted commas, whatever that, targeting millennials, looking for rich experiences, or targeting millennials, so looking for digital-only solutions and blah, blah, blah. But the point, if we think about the point of customer segmentation, it's about more accurately, it allows us to more accurately target customers with a message that's relevant.
So, are we able to broaden that one out? Because I agree, and you've picked out millennials. I just hate the concept of overthinking targets.
Yes, I know. However,
Right.
the point about millennials is that by referring to millennials as a segment, as people do in targeting millennials, we're assuming that they like and value the same things, that they behave in the same way. And the reality is that they don't. It's just a group of people that happen to be born around about the same, well, within 15 years of one another. So then there was a researcher that Mark Ritson quoted recently, actually Martin Sherry, I think his name is, Dutch guy, who did a study of 15,000 millennials from 20 different countries. And it was looking at attitudes of millennials in comparison to Gen Xers and post-war baby boomers. And the reality is that attitudinally, there's nothing hugely different about millennials as a group of individuals. There's 2 billion of them on the planet. And the only thing really that unifies them is the fact that they were born between 81 and 96. So fundamentally, they don't qualify as a segment if we think about segmentation as something that allows us to more accurately target customers.
It's completely useless.
Yeah, well, it's not completely useless, but I think
come
there's
on, you don't sound pissed off enough.
It's not. It's not complete. I think it's about. Well, when we talked about this earlier, I think targeting millennials or segmenting based purely on that age demographic is no different to segmenting based on gender or race. And this is what we'll probably come on to touch on about your point about overly complicated customer profiles. We should be focusing on building customer profiles based on common needs and behaviours and interests, as opposed to purely based on age or, like Stuart said this morning, it could be, location,
Yeah.
We're going to target people in Scotland with these new shoes or whatever. So I think...
Waterproof galoshes.
Indeed. So is the summary of this? I think it's ban all talk of millennials when it comes to segmentation, because it's lazy, and lazy segmentation leads to poor targeting,
poor outcomes,
and ineffective comms is my summary.
Very good.
And
the only thing I'd say is I wish you were more angry about it.
Well, I mean, I think, Julie, again, because we're more positive about it. We're saying it. I think when you were talking about it there, Julie, the kind of thing that was running through my head was the laziness that you touched on at the end. It's just like, so what we're going to do is target millennials. You go, why don't you fuck off? And it's
like another part of the industry that we have where they love to make things sound more complicated than they need to be.
Well, I know, or the flip side in this case, making sweeping generalizations about a whole generation.
Good. Exactly.
So it's that's the lazy bit. I think your point about overly complicated customer profiles is actually the opposite. That, I think, and this is the overarching theme that we've talked about. Well,
this is the narcissism of small differences.
Well, no, this was actually just the seeming kind of compulsion within our industry to make simple things complicated.
Correct.
For whatever. To justify our existence. And that's not necessary either.
It's terrible.
But useful customer profiles absolutely have
conceptual
a place.
Targets.
There you go. Conceptual targets.
I like conceptual targets.
Can you go a little bit more into conceptual targets, please?
So they are groups of people who you can bind together through some sort of commonality. So the one I was talking about,
soccer moms.
Soccer moms.
Right.
Because there's something that binds them together. And
but the crucially, it's attitudinally as opposed to, they happen to be the same age.
Indeed.
But is it not the fact that what happens with the millennials or the Gen Zers or all that kind of stuff is that people start putting attitudes on them? Which is actually the part of the challenge as well. So
because it all started after the war, didn't it? Yeah.
So suddenly you've kind of got this kind of attitude for a swathe of population that might not be accurate. Right.
And that's what the research that Mark Ritson quoted was. It was it's Martin. Did I say that already? Martin Shear. But it was basically looking at, like you say, millennials, Gen Xers, and baby boomers across 5 different attitudinal groups, and basically there was a relatively similar and equal split across each of them. So you had millennials that were, I think it was conservatives, challengers, creatives, socializers, and achievers. They were in every one of those groups. So you can't say these guys are millennials and they're all socializers. Do you know what I mean? And that means they're blah blah blah. So
I've never really understood it, and I don't know whether it's just to do with laziness or apathy, or just because I believe that it's the marketing equivalent of kind of star signs. That it's like, what does that mean? I'm a Pisces because I was born in March. I mean, fuck's sake.
I think what kind of, I
It
think,
doesn't make me any different to someone that was born in July. Do you know what I mean?
Does. I was born in July and we are very different.
yeah, I'm Scorpio and I'm a fucking sex machine. Right? Scorpios are pure fucking sex machine. It's no coincidence that Scorpio starts with an S. So does
But
Shark.
you're the only
So
one
does
in,
sex machine.
it's the only one in the room
But
with
do you know what I
4
mean?
children.
It's that kind of applying labels to things and
Yeah.
believing they behave
But
differently. They
brand
don't-
people generally
they
love
love it.
labelling
Love
stuff.
it.
A label and
Especially-
an acronym. Can't get enough of it.
Especially planners that are let off the lead.
I think what makes it a little bit more difficult is when you hear clients sometimes, and sometimes us as well. No, I'm just making sure, because I agree with you. I think we're all guilty of it. Is we're targeting millennials now to future-proof our brand and moving on. And it's also that kind of thing where like they're putting traits on people at the age that they are, 20, 30 and everything else, and saying, right, and this is how they're going to be acting for the rest of their lives. And so we're future-proofing the brand now for maybe when they're becoming a bit more affluent in 10, 15 years. And I've heard that. I'm going,
What do you mean? by
you're
that? What do you mean by
mental.
that? Yeah,
You're off your tiny nut. And it annoys me.
That's a good one.
So we're all right with
I
that.
just wish Julie was a bit more angry.
Well, there's only enough
She's a
room.
grown-up though, isn't she?
There's only enough room in the world of podcasts for one angry person amongst
I know.
3.
I know.
And I think we'll be
I know my place.
Angry. Yeah.
right.
I'm sure I'll find something to get angry about in the next 20
I'm sure
minutes.
Well, I'm
Chris
sure
is
you'll
gonna be there.
disagree with me. Is it me now?
It is you now, Chris.
I'm going to go with brand onions.
Oh,
Of course
now,
not. The internet's most read article.
now it
Correct.
it is the internet's most read article. Every so often.
You know it.
Every so often.
What's wrong with you today?
So we have a journal on the site, and in the when I occasionally look at the analytics to see which one our content is performing best, by far, by a country mile, for years
I know, it's
and
weird.
years. The article that is read the most is Chris's thing
Which
about
was basically-
I fucking hate brand
No,
onions. Is
I think we think it's because of the title. Brand onions don't work, and it was just basically me ranting about how I hate them, which
Well-
I'm just going to summarize here.
Well, Google ranks you number 1 or number 2 for the term brand onion. And
Does
so
it?
so the first thing you do is educate people about why they're bollocks.
I hate them. I hate them.
You're going to tell us why?
I just
First of all, what is a brand onion?
it's one of those visual metaphors that and other receptacles are available, like
Ladders?
pyramids,
Keys.
pyramids, ladders. It's such a lot of shit, and I think it's the receptacle into which every kind of generic sounding term that's used to describe a brand is thrown in an attempt to make it seem different or differentiated, and it represents the heart of the brand. And I've said that it doesn't represent the heart of the brand; it represents the heart of the desk drawer that it's thrown into and forgotten about, because they're just so complicated. It's like, and I remember in the article I wrote, at the beginning of my career, which
It's quite some time ago.
Quite some time ago.
I used to think it was me that I couldn't reconcile all the bits together, and that it was a failing on my part. But the longer I've done this, the more I realise it's not me, it's everyone. And because you get values, visions, missions, reasons to believe, personalities, brand promises, everything goes in there, and then you've got to try and reconcile all of these things into something meaningful. And there's just way too much of it for that to work. So they have been responsible for much of my kind of confusion and indifference around branding, and the more, and as I say, the more and more I do this, the more I realise you don't need them, which might sound counterintuitive from people that run a brand company. But the best brands in the world don't need all that shit. I don't think. I think they just know that they need to make a really good product, and their marketing or branding needs to make you fucking feel something.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't engineer feeling out of a fucking onion.
You can engineer anger out of it.
Yeah, I think
to be fair, in this
It's
case.
furious, isn't it?
quite
Jesus
quite
Christ.
a lot.
But it's this again. It's back to overcomplication for me as well. And I wrote a quote down from a guy from Booking.com, Ian Dirk, who said his one unchanging principle of marketing is to have a good product at a great price that you can buy easily. Now, I think that's great because it's really simple and it's not overly complicated. And I think the brand part of that is, yes, you can wrap the product in lots of intangible associations which create the brand. But this product still has to be good. So I just think you don't need all of those millions and millions of terms, which is almost this kind of desperation to sound smart. You just need to zero in on what the one or two things are.
Yeah.
And then live it and make people feel that.
So again, because I'm always interested in why do you think this has come to pass? Why do you think?
Because I think there's a desperation for our industry to overly intellectualize the process and things that we do. It's actually really simple, but we maybe because we want to be seen to be able to charge more money for it or something. I don't know, but lead clients down a garden path. They say what you need is a ladder, then a pyramid, then an onion, then a key, and then you stand on your leg, you spin around 3 times and pick the first word out of the dictionary. And that's your brand.
I think I think as a profession, and maybe this is unfair, but certainly in years gone by, probably still, we talk about wanting to be thought of as a kind of as a professional service, as opposed, lawyers or accountants, where clients will come to us to benefit from our expertise to address a specific business problem. But and I think it's a bit like design in that because everyone has an opinion on design and everyone thinks they can do a little bit of marketing. And it's that I think we've got to where we've got to because if you make it sound a bit more difficult, if you make it a little bit more complicated, it creates that veneer of this is actually really complex, and you have to be a specialised marketeer to tackle it. Whereas
there's an esoteric veneer laid over the top of it, which is just even more.
It's almost
self-serving and just. Oh.
Well, I think if you accept or if you present that actually at the heart of it, this is pretty simple and you can tackle it in this way, that it's almost not admitting, I don't mean that, but by acknowledging that it's relatively simple, that is almost devaluing what you can bring to the party in terms of expertise. But actually, we don't think that's the case.
It's just a nonsense. And you do see it, and I do think that the more inexperienced the marketeer, the more heavily they rate these tools.
I think and as you know, and I've mentioned this maybe a couple of times, I love a framework. I've mentioned that before.
Is that a brand onion framework?
Well, no, and I think that's the challenge sometimes with frameworks, is that the kind of thing is you see it and it kind of makes some kind of ordered sense that you fill that and you fill that and you get that to there.
So you feel smart.
Yeah, and it looks good going up. You point that up and you go, look, here it is. And again, you never really disagree with a brand onion because it's never saying you're a shower, we're a bit arrogant on the phone. You never really hear that. So it's all nice things about the business and it's all in one page. And it feels good and everything else, and then it's actually the practical application of that. That's when it starts.
Because it's a distraction. 90% of the information that's in a brand onion is a total distraction from actually what lies at the core of the brand and the product and what you're trying to do. Yeah,
and it kind of, for me, it's also what do we, why are we here in the process? And I think the kind of key thing about that brand definition process when you're going through it is actually that objective viewpoint about asking the questions about the business and saying, well, we can find out something about the business, or as we're sharing with you, Chris, we can tell you where your business isn't working brilliantly as far as the brand is concerned and everything else, and making it better. And I think that's what it is. And sometimes doesn't live in an onion. That's not a deliverable.
It invites the wrong type of scrutiny from people to say, and in the worst kind of box ticking mentality.
Yeah.
And when you reduce the process of branding down to that level of administration or that kind of administrative effort to make sure that it tries to tick every little value or every little part of an onion, you have nothing. Mm-hmm. And you have nothing.
And this, I think, was actually one of my other points, but we'll touch on it around, uniqueness and brands who have a often misplaced notion that that their brand is genuinely unique to others in the market. And I think that within those onions, you often see USPs. And the reality is that most brands have very little that significantly differentiates them from what else is on offer in the marketplace. And it's just another bottle of booze trying to claim something unique about its process, or another pair of trainers that's introducing a new technology or new material. And I think that, and this is Byron Sharp's point about the importance of the importance and effectiveness of distinctive brand assets, and that a disproportionate amount of your time should be spent and invested in creating those distinctive.
He calls it meaningless distinctiveness.
Well, the opposite being meaningful differentiation, which is really, unless you're an Apple, is putting a computer in your pocket and calling a phone, or a...
Just listening to you two, they're talking on meaningless differentiations and differentiation. You know, I mean, and
I was
you can,
quoting someone else, to be fair.
yeah, no, I know, but I mean, I think the kind of challenge that you could put back in that is that at least a brand onion is simple to get your head round.
No, but it's not.
It's not, though. 'Cause
Oh,
it has-
no. I think it's simple to get your head around when it's a piece of A4 paper. I think when you try to execute on it, it's hard.
Well, on point size 9.
Well, no, yeah,
To get all the words in.
Yes, because I think when you're showing it on that slide or on that piece of A4 when it really should probably be A3, nobody will disagree with it because it's all nice things about you. And I think that the execution.
But it's bollocks.
I know it's bollocks, but the thing is, it's for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ.
What's your point, Colin?
My point is when you're then kind of going when you're going the whole differentiation and meaningless distinctiveness and everything else, it could be argued. That's as much toss.
Yeah, I know. That's
It could be argued.
Yes, it could be, but I think in respect of what Julie was saying, she was quoting someone who's written a book for practitioners, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, and it's not necessarily. I would argue it's not necessarily the same thing because what it boils down, because it boils down to something really simple rather than something really complicated.
That's very good, Chris.
It is very good.
That is very good. We're very proud.
You two, you're at it. Right. So anyway,
So that was a
that's
different
good,
point.
yeah.
But yeah, so
So
what's our
that's
take
brand
out on
onions.
brand onions? That it's unnecessarily
Never.
complicated and
I'm not saying that. What I'm not saying is that something isn't. I'm not saying that they're completely irrelevant. I'm saying something's needed, but it's not.
not at the level
We
of
tend to work in the rule of 3 and values and things like that. They're really useful.
yeah.
Not least because you can remember 3 things. And our own values, there's 3 of them. 3 is a really powerful number. Some organizations end up with like 7 or 14, and it's like, what are you doing?
Well, we know. I think we're looking at a brand key just now that's got 9 distinct components to it, and underneath each one of those
irony.
components,
Yeah,
there's another 15 things underneath, and you're going, stab me in the heart with a bit of paper,
Yeah.
please.
Because I'm never going to remember it, and no one ever does.
No,
So anyway.
that's good. Well, in true shark fashion,
Oh, here we go.
I was gonna talk about the long and the short of it, because not necessarily the long and the short theory, but all the stuff that surrounds it that rips me in it. But I think I might change my mind.
Oh,
He's changing up on us. He's going to hit us.
I'm gonna go, and it's after listening to your very good points around the brand onion, which becomes overly complicated, and I would like to take it to something else, which is actually the oversimplification, and it's Simon Sinek and the why, how, what. And I think what's happened is the opposite has kind of happened from brand onions, where what you then suddenly get is where you get the brand onion with all the points and the layers and everything else, and now you've got this almost reaction to it, I would suggest, where you then kind of go your why, how, and your what. Why being your purpose, how being your process, and what being your process again, which is kind of crazy because of the way it's done. So the reason that you've got your and I keep forgetting, I keep having to read it.
What,
Your
how, why?
Your well, see, is it how, what, why? That's the rule of 3s with too many H's and W's in it, frankly. But you've got your why, your how, and your what, and your why is in the middle, the how and the what, and everything else. And I think what can tend to happen.
This is linked to the discover your why, isn't it?
Yeah, all that kind of, and I'll discover
with
your
why.
why. Yeah,
Start with why. Not always.
Really.
not always. And I think this is where, and it's
Because sorry to cut across you, the point I made was that it's the what that's really important. What is it that you make?
well,
The what,
and I think
and that.
But when you look at the brand onion, you get all these things. I think this has been a natural reaction to kind of reduce it down to, well, it's just 3 words and we'll fill it out and we can all do it in a workshop and we can put that there and out there. And I think then people then think the job is done. So you can, but actually when you then start to execute on that, you run into problems because it doesn't really express the brand in the way that we like to do it, which is
It's relatively
values.
abstract, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't then pin that down. It gives you that kind of warm glow in a meeting. And I think it's the same challenge with brand onions, but except it's trying to simplify it, but the same problems goes like, how do you execute on why are we doing what we do? And you need values to underpin it. And I think when you see it, you can go, how will that work? And I just think it's I think it's a nice exercise to do in a workshop. I just think it's difficult when you then make it part of your brand and how you execute it without things underneath it.
And I do agree with that, because I think we've worked with a number of clients over, particularly over the last few years, where their challenge has been just, getting a sense of unity unity is not the right word, but throughout the business, and understanding of really what lies at the what lies at the heart of what we do, kind of thing. And I do think the what, how, why can be useful if you're, but the why doesn't, it can be, call it a brand promise, call it a proposition, call it a whatever, it's the kind of, what are you, I do think it has a role to play, as does using it as
you're working really hard to try and justify.
I'm not.
It's
because
okay to say that we think that it doesn't work.
Well, anymore. I don't think, I agree with Stuart. I don't think it works in isolation, because I think
it's become very fashionable because of Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
And it might work in some instances, but across the board, it's not a one size fit.
Yeah, and I just don't think it's got legs. I really don't think it's got legs. I think it's a good workshop exercise where everybody can get fussy, but then at the end of it, there is a bit of so what for me, and you kind of go, so what do you do with this? And I think if you try and carry that on without fleshing it out further, and
it doesn't allow you to. It doesn't really it doesn't give you the same tools or platform that something like Core Value does, to say, right, what does that mean in terms of tone of voice? What does it mean in terms of language? What does it mean in terms of messaging frameworks and hierarchies and all that kind of stuff? So I do absolutely agree with that. But I think, I think you've probably made a very good point, Stuart, that in terms of a workshop exercise, and almost like a bit of a kind of anchor point, it's a really useful reference. But in terms of a brand on a page, it's quite a bit thin veneer.
So I guess what you're saying is it can be complementary, but it doesn't give you much of a platform to build anything.
Yeah, and I think it's just another reaction to the complication. But actually, you actually only complement it down the line, because you'll get nice 3 sentences which will kind of wrap you up a little bit.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really
and
describe.
You can draw them in a
there's a circle, and you can pretend it's been hand done, and put it, But for me, when you're then kind of going, how am I going to put this in a social post?
Yeah,
you're fucked. And and then you're actually back, and then what happens is the problem that you're trying to solve at the beginning just kind of stretches out. So you really need these values just to kind of make sure that everything that you're doing is in line. And I think that's something that Darren's very good at.
So it provides more practical guardrails for you.
Yeah. So it's just a bit of a laugh, I think, doing that as a workshop. But I think it's the real test of it is there, and that's the kind of thing that. When I go, because we've seen it a couple of times. Here we've done our what, why, who, when, and I'm going, oh, and I went, what are the values? Oh, with the button, and it's difficult to get things. So that's the thing that
we didn't do that for ourselves.
What, how, why? Well, to be fair, we did actually. We did it as part of the exercise with Rob.
That's what I'm saying.
But we didn't. What we didn't end up with was three step. I think it's one in a. It's something in a toolbox that can be useful depending on who the client is and what the task is. But as a brand on a page, what do we fundamentally, and as something that is going to allow you to, like you say, develop a distinctive tone of voice and understand where you fit within the market landscape. It doesn't do that in isolation.
Yes, I would agree. So that burns my bush.
So what have we learned from our?
His bush is burnt and his ribbons knitted.
What have we learned from our?
Well, you're the angriest out of the three of us. I change my mind on things, and I zig when people zag. That's me. That's what sharks do.
Right, he is banned from future
swallowed the
pod.
marketing bullshit dictionary.
I think you'll find I was skating to where the punk's going to be. That's what I was doing.
God
That's what I was doing. Cupcakes.
I was just taking the low hanging fruit.
So I think it's I think it's about being simple but not too simple, and actually about that is our thing really. It's kind of making sure it's as simple as possible, that it's got a life. It's not just about a one and done. It's the fact that we all agree that you're trying to create something that has legs and lives beyond that consultative
phase.
I think that Jeff Bezos quote, he's come up already today, but he said people always ask me what's going to change in the next 10 years. And he said that strikes me as the wrong question.
What's going to still be the same?
Yeah, because that question is the one that our industry is fascinated about and loves the shiny things. His point was, what's not going to change in the next 10 years? And he related that to consumer behaviour or consumer psychology around, consumers are enduring. Since the emergence of the consumer economy, they've always wanted the same things, and that's going to remain the same. And I think that is what drives my frustration in a lot of this stuff, in that we forget, as an industry, we're terrible at just forgetting
the basics.
The really, really, the real basics. And that's what drives my frustration all the time in that stuff. Because I think that's such a pertinent point he makes, and that's probably why he's the richest man on the planet. Because he's built the whole strategy. And that stuff that doesn't change, it allows you, as he says, allows you to build a strategy around it. And he did. By God, did he do that with consumers that always want low prices, fast delivery, and a huge selection of choice, He nailed it.
Soon he's going to be delivering the COVID vaccines.
Oh, yeah. And his wee drones. His wee chilled drones.
Yeah.
He'll be doing it, the wee drone.
He's no daft.
Oh, he's no daft. Thanks for that. Hold on, I'm just going to
write that down.
I'll put that in the show notes. Jeff Bezos, no daft. Chris Lumsden.
Wee bit daft.
I'm sure he'll be delighted to know that he's been name-checked.
I know.
Sure he will. Mr. Bezos, Chris Lumsden says you're no daft.
Mr. Bezos, we need to rip up the brand onion.
This is where you'll send you a brand onion when it's been all right for me, prick.
It's been all right. And I've done my who, what, why. And listen, we've done all right targeting millennials. So
what do you, Dix, know?
What do you guys know?
Right, well, that was good. And I think we've got more. I think this could be an occasional series.
And I'm sure the listeners are delighted with that.
He doesn't.
What else can we get angry about?
No, well, next time we'll try and be happy about something.
To be fair, we've been quite happy. It's just Chris has been.
Yeah, we just.
Mr. Angry
bring the
over
worst out of me. I've got some others on my list that'll do just the same.
Right, before it descends into complete debauchery, hit the button.
Okay.
Play the music.
Bye.
Bye-bye.